talking music, building businesses, and the grit in the journey. We're Skrizz and Adam, and welcome to The Rise.
And we are back. It is Skrizz and Adam with The Rise. What episode is it?
I had a feeling you were going to say that. 21. I think 21. I'm almost saying 21. If it's not, it's okay.
We're wrong. Forgive us. This is episode 21 of The Rise with Skrizz and Adam. It is 8:30 in the morning where I am at. Adam, where is it? What time is it where you're at?
It is 4:30 p.m. So I have a little bit easier than you right now. So thanks for waking up bright and early for us.
I woke up, did not hit snooze, jumped right in the shower, splashed water on my face, and just like immediately. Actually, I didn't have internet set up on the laptop yet, so I'm like really down to the wire. But I'm here, and I have no idea what we're talking about. So, Adam, what's going on?
Well, first, where are you?
Right now, I'm in lovely Saskatchewan, Canada, where I'm constantly at, and I have a lot of cool actual local business opportunities I'm working on here. I had some meetings about, which I won't talk about now, but wherever you are, just chipping away, as you always say. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, so that you can use this and anyone can use this. Whenever you say chipping away, just say chipping away.
What episode was that? Because I distinctly remember like going over the audio and being like, that's a moment. That was definitely a moment. Chipping away.
Yeah, I feel like it adds like a little bit of a visual to it. But yeah, so what I want to talk about today is something that I know in my world, in the startup world, it's talked about a lot. And I have a feeling in your world, it's probably talked about a lot, but it's probably also, maybe it's not talked about quite as much because of the industry you're in. So I'll get to it now. So a big topic in the startup world is around something called imposter syndrome. Is that something you guys talk about at all? Like, are you even familiar with that term at all?
I've heard the term imposter syndrome. I don't know what it is. Can I make a guess what it is right now?
Yeah, make a guess.
It's definitely wrong. Actually, I was thinking, imposter. I have two guesses. Okay, two guesses. One is referring to like the fake it till you make it mentality in business. That's one guess. The second is that whenever you do accomplish something, you're so self-conscious about it that you feel like you're an imposter and you're not worthy of those amongst the ranking you're currently at. So is any of those correct?
Yeah, both I think are right on line. Like basically, either you make it and you feel like you're just an imposter. You don't feel like you're the real deal. Sure. Or it's like let's say you're starting a business and you're a CEO and you're young or you've never done it before. You feel like you shouldn't be able to get the accolades or you shouldn't be able to build a business because you're too young. You shouldn't be able to raise this much money. And because of that, you feel insecure and you feel like you're not good enough to get there. And it's something that I've gone through, and I still go through to this day, honestly. And I know a lot of startup and small business founders, they talk about it constantly, about feeling like they're an imposter, feeling like they're not good enough to accomplish what they want to accomplish. And I feel like in the music industry, people probably feel it, but the reason why I said earlier, maybe it's not talked about as much is because you almost have to be like the man. You have to feel like you're Elvis. You have to feel like you're Michael Jackson. Like you have to feel like you're the man or the woman before you actually are. So like, I thought it'd be an interesting topic to talk about. I want to throw around.
Yeah, that's a great topic that applies to more than just business. That applies to anything in life, being in a relationship or being a parent or whatever. But I mean, my gut reaction that like had me grinning while you were saying that was like, is it relevant in music? Of course it's relevant in music. It's definitely relevant everywhere. But what you kind of finished saying was like, in music, you have to, for lack of a better definition, be a narcissist. Like you have to be egocentric. You have to be Muhammad Ali, like in the 60s. Like you have to, like you are the guy with the mic in front of 1,000 people. Like you have to be that. So I'm sure people, I feel like probably the biggest artist on earth, like I think about like Morgan Wallen right now, who's like on top of the world and he had all these things, just like dozens of people working around him. I wonder, like, I'm sure he's cocky as shit, but I wonder if like deep down he feels that way. He's like, how the hell did I end up outselling literally everyone in America right now? You know what I mean? And I'm sure that obviously goes down to the smallest level of too. It's like, how did I like you're on the surface very, you have to be on the surface on the outermost surface on the PR level, you have to be humble. And then on the surface below that, you have to be extremely cocky. And then on the surface below that, you're a confused nightmare of having no idea what's going on. So that's the three tiers of being an artist's mental state.
Yeah, like you obviously are friends with and know a lot of successful artists. Like some of
Sure,
your
yeah.
friends are obviously very successful, and you've gotten to know them more than just on a surface level, where you're actually able to have like real deep conversations where you can share shit that actually matters and shit that's actually real and stuff that you wouldn't share publicly. So like when you're talking to your buddies who,
Yeah.
and you being one of them, but are very successful, and people on the outside are like, this person has everything. They have, the followers, the top songs, the money, all this stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
But when you're having the conversations and really open up, do you
I
get a
remember
sense of
one
that?
friend distinctly who I won't name. It was like I was kind of expressing that I had someone in my life at that point in time who was, calling me maybe a little too egocentric around certain things of my work. And then that person said, "Oh, like, fuck that. Like, I'm the person who has to not saying it like yes, it's glorifying to be the person with the mic in front of all the people and that everyone's staring at. It's like, no, I have to be that person. So I have to be it's a discipline. You know what I mean? Like the egocentric, that the Elvis thing you were talking about, like that's a discipline. I mean, I think that people that are naturally like, I am Elvis, I am whatever, like those are the people in LA that burned out on drugs and don't make it. You know what I mean? The people who can manage the discipline of like being humble on the surface and grateful on the surface, then maintaining a really tough kind of thick skin of like, wanting to be the star and maintaining that power. And then probably deep down having doubts every 5 seconds. It's like a really good checks and balances system. I imagine that's probably how the biggest people make it. I refuse to believe the biggest artists on earth are just like pure machismo. You know what I mean? I doubt it. I doubt it. So that answers the question at all, but I think there are layers to it. And I think being the man is almost a choice and a discipline.
Well, I think you kind of, I believe it's actually a good thing to have a little bit of imposter syndrome in you,
Right.
because it forces you. Like I think of Tom Brady. He always will hold off that he was, sixth or seventh or sixth round draft pick. And he held that till the day he retired.
Wild.
And he always held that chip on his shoulder. And
Yeah.
I feel like that's something that we all kind of need to have no matter how big you get. Because I feel like the second you get complacent and the second you feel like you actually are, a godlike level, like, we've mentioned Kanye obviously a bunch of times now, is usually the time when people get a little bit complacent even. And they feel like, no, I'm the best. I don't need to work as hard. I don't need to be as disciplined to my craft. So I actually feel like a little bit of imposter syndrome is actually a good thing. And I feel like whenever I talk to people, I feel like they think they're the only ones that have imposter syndrome. And I feel like really everybody does. It's just about how much they open up to it and how it fuels them.
I think you nailed it. Cause like I literally just set up right here a studio in the place I'm staying for the next couple months. So I'm staying in Western Canada with a friend really cheaply because I'm going to be touring essentially the next 4 months. So I was just like setting up shop here and there. And I started writing a song and I just got really, really excited about this song I was writing. And again, like I've written like, I don't need hundreds, thousands. I mean, I've done it a million times. But I mean, like sometimes it really feels special. I mean, a lot of the time it really feels special. A lot of the time I'm totally wrong. But I was like working on it and I was just like, and like I left the studio and I was driving and I wrote a second verse and I wrote a bridge on the way to a meeting and I was just like, and like as good as it felt, I was like, I literally thought like, have I lost it? You know what I mean? Like, have I fooled myself? Like, have I fooled myself to being so complacent? This was an exact thought, exactly what you were saying. Like, have I thought I have it and this actually isn't good at all? You know what I mean? And I think about that all the time. And I really think about like, and it's almost like a fear of the day where it's like, I write that second verse and it isn't good. You know what I mean? And I thought it was good the whole time. You know what I mean? And again, like I'm thinking right now, like I might be totally fucking wrong. You know what I mean? Like maybe I have declined in my craft. I don't know. But if you're not afraid of declining on your craft, you're probably going to decline in your craft. So yeah, I mean, I was definitely feeling that in terms of like the mechanics of my work,
Yeah, it's one of those things I feel like you think is going to go away as you mature in your career. And obviously the rise, the whole point is the journey and hopefully the elevation to where we all hope we're going.
But it's a lot of that.
And you think like, okay, when I get to this checkpoint, the imposter syndrome is going to go away. I'm going to be like fully thinking I'm the best, I'm the GOAT, and you're never going to have those kind of insecure thoughts that we all naturally do get. But the truth is no matter what level you get to, there's just a new level of like, oh, I'm not here though.
Oh,
And
of
then
course.
even when you get to there, you're like, well, yeah, but I'm still not here. And am I actually supposed to be down here? So I feel like the thoughts never truly go away. But I think it's about how you handle it. Like you don't want to become insecure
No,
and feeling like being
you don't want
hesitant in what you're doing. But I think we should always be questioning, like, could I have done this better? And what is the most effective way of doing it?
I think what comes with time and what comes with maturity and what comes with the growth in the rise is that like you have more confidence in the process, but the
Mm,
process includes doubt, if that makes sense. You're confident in your process that you were going to create, you were going to question, you were going to revise, you were going to continue. It's confidence in the process that over the next 24 hours, I'm going to go up and down, and the checks and balances are going to yield a better product because of it. The second you start doubting the process, along with doubting the artwork itself, or whatever, not necessarily artwork, the mechanics of whatever you're doing, then I think you have a problem. I mean, back to I didn't know that about Tom Brady, but I mean, him carrying, whatever, 6th round all the way to his last Super Bowl, like that's incredible. That's
but you kind of have to find that chip,
yeah,
like
yeah,
especially in your industry and in the world of sports, because you guys have true fans.
yeah.
Like, yes, there are certain entrepreneurs that everybody knows, like, the Gary V's of the
But
world.
the
Like,
fans don't really affect those people. It's just like a side thing, I feel like. I mean,
yeah, it's
Gary,
different. Yeah,
like
it's like they're the celebrity business people, but it's not as much. Like for an artist though, like you, it's like you have true
everything.
fans, and it's like that's how you survive. Like I don't ever need to have
Yes,
a fan to
your
have a
fan is
successful business. But like in the world of sports, and even more importantly in your world, like your business thrives off of people loving you
for
as
sure,
like the person and the personality. But I gotta imagine that makes it even tougher because it's like people come up to you and they're like, oh, you're the man, like
for
I'm
sure.
so great to meet you. And then there's probably that other thought of you where it's like,
Not living
yeah,
up to
but
it, yeah, all the time. That's actually a really good one. Actually, I haven't really thought about that. I mean, there is such a disconnect between, like, if I were to pull a Kanye West and do something that pisses off all my fans, I go out of business. You know what I mean? Whereas, like, that does happen in the corporate world, I guess, every once in a while, but not really. You know what I mean?
yeah, I mean, it's one thing about getting like canceled, but which it's like I don't need anybody to ever be like, wow, Adam Rosen, that you're
Yeah, it
I
doesn't matter.
it
Like, it
doesn't
doesn't
matter. It's
affect
like, can I get my clients and can I build a business that adds value? Like that's what matters.
for
But for
sure.
you, you need people to be like, Skrizzly Adams, I want your autograph. I want to go to
Oh,
your
for
concert. I want
sure.
to listen to your music. Like
I
that's
mean,
you're built off of that.
back to just kind of backtrack what you were saying like a second earlier. I mean, like, there's always like this post. I mean, for me, especially because I do a lot alone, like a post-show depression, and I think a huge part of the post-show depression is imposter syndrome. I mean, I get really depressed. Usually, make some phone calls afterward, like in bed, um, you know, after a show, which is, I mean, I think it has to do with like a high energy, kind of low energy drain, but it's also like, oh, like that was so wonderful. Like everyone was celebrating me. And it's like, who the fuck am I? You know what I mean? I think that's where what I explained earlier was the imposter syndrome regarding like my craft, but like regarding like the show and like the presence, it's like, yeah, very much feeling like I'm not living up to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I'm
think
sure
about
that's
even
very common. That has
a
to be
hundred.
super common.
Man, now more than ever. Think about like influencers. And it's like their Instagram, they get tons of followers, tons of likes, and they're
Yeah,
posting all this amazing content. And it looks like they're the coolest person in the world. They're doing all
for
these
sure.
amazing things, but then maybe they go to bed, they're alone, they're not feeling confident.
Don't have that much
Maybe,
money, a lot of them, I'm sure.
yeah, and then maybe the pictures they're posting are just like totally filtered. It's not really
Yes,
what they look like, not really the life they live. And then they go back and then it probably makes it even more difficult. And the imposter syndrome is probably eats them alive. So I feel like imposter syndrome probably today is worse than
worse.
ever because of social media and how much we think we know of so many people that
Yeah.
we really don't know a thing about.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. Like I'm already like thinking of people I know that are like, yeah, like the person on social media that gets like, the hundreds of thousands of followers or whatever is not a honest reflection of that human being at all, like personality, with like not even accurate. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm sure that's super common. I mean, also like I think about like the social media stars, like a lot of them are making like no money, like no money, and it's like, what are they doing? I'm not questioning that, like they're doing all that, and they're being fake, and then they're making no money off it. It's like, this is a weird. I think maybe I've said this story before. This story blows my mind. It's like someone on TikTok had 14 million followers. Okay, and he made like short videos. He was someone who probably he definitely wanted to be in film and do something in film, and he used TikTok as a platform to elevate his profile. He funded like $40,000 to shoot a short film, and he did like an online premiere where anyone in the world can go sign into the online premiere. And I think it costs like $9 or something like that. He had 14 million followers. Only 14 people went to the fucking
No way.
Only 14 people went to the fucking premiere, which goes to show. And he's like, at that point, he definitely feels like an imposter. It's like, I've been doing all this to get me to here. And when I got there, there was no fucking correlation at all. Like, that's wild. And he's promoting the shit out of it. Like from 14 million to 4. It's like, and then someone commented, I guess TikTok followers don't really matter. It's like, yeah, they don't.
Well, it kind of goes back to what you said earlier, and that's why we've talked about this a lot on the podcast or the different episodes, but around the process. Because if you only buy into the result, it'll either take you to be a really good high and maybe a high that isn't real, or it can take you to a far low that also isn't real. Like maybe that was his first time. Maybe he just did a terrible job marketing it. Maybe he didn't do anything to market it, and all you have to do is X, Y, and Z next time.
One tweak in the way he promoted it, and then it would have been, 10,000 people. Yeah, for sure.
Exactly. So it's like you don't want to buy into the result is not always the whole story. It's can you buy into doing the process right? Because if you can do that right, maybe not right away, but time always balances things out, in my opinion. And so over time, the truth will come.
I agree. Well, I wish I could message that guy. We should send the guy this clip of the podcast and be like, hey, buddy, you might have taken an L the first time, but just keep chipping away,
Exactly. Just keep chipping away. I'm telling you that if everyone bought into the chipping away, man,
I swear to God, we gotta get Gary V on board for like the rise chipping away, like t-shirt or something.
I'm telling you, man, chipping away. That is like, it's such a good visual. It makes me think of Shawshank Redemption. And we should actually, that's a good point. We should definitely we had a lot of people we got to get on the podcast. Gary V, we'll get him on the podcast at some point.
Have you been to his liquor store? His parents?
No, it's in Jersey, right?
I've been there like 8 million times.
Is it a good liquor store? Is it
it's
all
nice.
It's hyped up to be?
It's really nice. Yeah, it's really nice. I've been there like 1 million times. There was a Taco Bell next to it. As a kid, I went to that Taco Bell a lot. It was like right where I lived. There was a doctor right around the corner that I still go to, actually. So I've been there many a time. Yeah.
Shout out to the doctor and shout out to the Taco. We're giving some good
New Jersey.
I
don't know. It's good stuff.
Know.
Gary V. Good old Gary V. Before we end here, anything that you think is distinctly different about your imposter syndrome than anything I have mentioned?
I think for me, like I always feel an urge. So I get on a lot of podcasts, like in the past year or so, I've been on over 50 podcasts, typically around startups and sales to share more of my startup journey. And part of my startup journey was, and I teach a class too to small business owners. And like I sold a company, which is real. And usually when I say I sold a company, people think like must be rich from that, must have been, retired at 27 years old.
Didn't you tell a story? Sorry to cut you off. Didn't you tell a story of like a massive sale where they ended up with nothing?
Like, yeah, exactly. Yeah, FanDuel.
It was like a multi-billion-dollar sale. Though.
Yeah,
CEO got nothing.
500, I think 60 mil, and they got nothing from the acquisition. But yeah, like one of the things that I always feel the need to is like prefacing my story of like, here's my problem with the startup world is that everything is over glamorized, and I don't want to be part of the over glamorization, and I want to share the real shit, the good, the bad, and the ugly, because I want people to understand the truth of what it's like, at least the truth of what I went through. So like for me, I guess my imposter syndrome is always feeling the need, if I ever say I sold my company, to be like, it was not a big win. It was not a big exit, but it was an amazing learning. So like for me, that's where my imposter syndrome takes me, and always feeling like I need to just prove myself. So I try to use it in a way that's that number one is beneficial to others, where I'm not spewing shit that isn't real. But then number two, to fuel me to work on my craft harder, to be better at what I do.
I love it. That's great. That is totally great. Well, I think on that note, I think we've done some good talking.
Before we hop off,
Yeah.
So you're in Canada right now. Can you
I'm in
give us an
Canada.
idea of what's going on?
Some plugs. Yeah. It's that kind of tour starts in 3 weeks, 3.5 weeks. Yeah.
Say when it is, because that depends on when this launches. So
Yeah,
right
this
now
is
we're
true.
filming this April
Okay.
5th.
Yeah. Right now I got a little setup here in Canada that as I'm constantly traveling, going back to Canada. And first tour starts April 27th, Fort Collins. Then we go to Denver. Then we hit up the Midwest. Then we hit up the South. And then that's like a 3-week run. Yeah, we just added Chicago a couple days ago. It's new. Get tickets. It will sell out. Just added Alaska. I'm really fired up about that. I have someone who works with me who says Skrizzly Adams, the artist who plays all the cities that are too cold for everyone else to play. It's like my business model. Yeah, I guess artists don't really play Alaska, and the promoter that reached out was like, really able to set up a really good situation. So and it's in July. So I was like, I get to go on vacation and get paid to go to Alaska. So
it's the worst place to be. It's a cool, it's a good like bucket list item thing. Too.
Yeah. So and it's like, I think I'm doing 2 or 3 cities in it's like an Alaska tour. Yeah, we're doing that. UK, bunch of other stuff in the works, but yeah, I'm going to be everywhere and lots of new singles coming out. And the 3rd album is almost done. So that's what's going on. I'm just chipping away on everything for 2024 actually right now. So I'm really excited about that. What's going on with you?
Remind me when. So I'm in Paris right now. So remind me when you're going to be in. When are you going to be in the UK? Because I'm going to be in Europe for the next, 6-7 months.
July. Yeah, come through July 29th. I think July 29th. Yeah, well, let's coordinate that. Maybe do a live in London podcast.
Oh, I like that. Live in London. It's got a good ring to it.
It does. I actually have
live in London.
An EP called Live in London. Skrizzly Live in London. Yeah, so we're going everywhere. We got a lot of other continents in the works too. So we'll see you at the shows, and hopefully I don't have imposter syndrome on stage. And it's all just a good experience. Maybe imposter syndrome at the merch table, but hopefully not on stage. No, we're
gonna get the merch flowing. We're gonna get every venue is gonna be packed out, especially Alaska. Everyone listening from Alaska, show out and show your support.
Actually, the second I posted the updated flyer with Alaska, I was so thrilled. Like a woman commented in 5 minutes, like, finally a good artist is coming to Alaska. And I'm like, yes, I am. I'm that guy right now. Like,
hey, you know what?
There's Alaska for the people.
You're going to be the face of Alaska soon. 2024.
That literally is my business model. Like, I'm here in like Saskatchewan. I'm here in like Alberta, Alaska, like all these like really cold places where artists don't want to go. I just go.
You're a man of the people.
Man of the people. Yeah. I love it. Sounds good, my dude.
I will see you soon. Always nice chatting with you. And thank you for everyone for listening. And you can like, subscribe, comment, do all those things. But we appreciate you. And we'll see you soon, man.
See you, man. Peace.